The Mariners are acquired a reliever this weekend from the White Sox named Gregory Santos. Who is he?
Gregory Santos is this. He's this kind of untapped mineral, I would say, because he just completed his first year. And you're talking about all the metrics that suggest he's going to have a breakout year. And I wouldn't disagree. I mean, he just completed his first season with a two-seamer. So the White Sox pitching coach, Ethan Katz, had him in San Francisco very early on when Ethan was the assistant there. And then Gregory ends up with the White Sox, and Ethan converted his four-seam fastball to a two-seamer, and it was all about spin efficiency. So for those that are uninitiated, spin efficiency is about how much of the spin you're putting on the ball is actually contributing to movement. And Ethan felt like specifically that the four-seamer just wasn't doing as much, that the sinker paired better with the slider, as we've seen in baseball lore. And he had very good success with his slider specifically off of the sinker. So I would be interested for you guys to know whether or not, because there was some talk of maybe at some point adding a cutter as well. I would be interested in what the Mariners are going to do with his pitch mix if they're going to add one. There was some discussion of that. But I also, just a second year of having the sinker full time, I think is important to him as he toys with that and plays with it. And I also think if you look down the stretch, the White Sox bullpen was like badly charred at the end of last year. They basically just didn't have horses. And so he was pitching more in terms of exposure than anybody would have wanted him to.
Any concern about an elbow that late in the year put him on the IL?
I mean, he's a major league pitcher, so he's probably going to, I don't think so. I don't think they would have done the deal if they had concerns about that. I think that was just more fatigue than anything, fatigue-based, I would say. And I'm wading into territory where I haven't seen, the MRI or anything like that. So I don't know exactly, but, I wouldn't have imagined they would have done the deal if there was concern that was emergent. But yeah, I mean, he throws really hard, and that is always a thing. So yeah, I just think it's, first of all, I'm glad the Tigers don't see the Mariners until August.
Yeah.
Like, get all that stuff in the bullpen out, right? Like, I was talking to Brock off the air. I don't think there's a bullpen with more stuff, capital S stuff, in Major League Baseball.
Were you surprised? And I'm not familiar with Steamer. Is Steamer one of these projection companies?
Yeah, it's like
as well?
Zips.
So,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's Zips. Fangraphs kind of
I do
owns
with Rice.
Yeah, it kind of owns the name, and then I get Zips, and then I get Steamer after that. Were you surprised when those numbers came out and Santos was projected to be the highest WAR reliever in baseball?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, he's good. Like, I'm not trying to demean the guy, but I didn't watch last year and say that is the best reliever in baseball. And that's because there are really, really, really good relief pitchers in baseball. But I'm not surprised based on the stuff and based on the upside, right? So if you calculate into that, bake into that the idea that he was just learning a two-seamer and you can manipulate that pitch mix, I do think the ceiling is pretty substantial. And, the walk rate can come down. He wasn't always great after getting ahead of hitters. Sometimes it kind of faded on him. The at-bat did. And I just think with some more maturity of major league pitching time, there's a fantastic arm in there. There really, really is.
Yeah, go ahead, Brock.
No, I like manipulate pitch mix. I'm going to add that now.
Manipulate the pitch mix. Is that one of the notes you're taking today?
I just wrote it down because if there honestly is one bullpen, Jason, if there's one bullpen, and maybe this is totally myopic because we just are on the Mariners and flagship for them and just study them and everything else, but it sure feels like Paul Sewald stories, Matt Brash stories, so many relievers have come through here, Jason, and say the same thing. Like, this organization changed me, whether it was my arm angle, whether it was my pitch mix, whether it was my spin rate. Like, I don't know. Are there other organizations in baseball as heralded for that kind of understanding as the Mariners seem to be, certainly from my perspective?
Yeah, I think the Astros are on that list, especially when Brent Strom was there. I heard a lot of that going on. There are a couple others, but I do think two components of that. Number one, you can, and I've heard you guys talk about developing people while also going to get free agents. If you can do both, that's where the elite really happens. But I also think if you can develop pitchers that way, and you are a place, and I know the Tigers really want to be that for Jack Flaherty this year. And that's part of the reason he signed with them, is because he feels like they know something other people don't about how to regenerate his success. And to that point, if you can become that destination, you are like Las Ventanas, right? Brock, if you can be that destination, you're going to magnetize people to your location and just be the best place you can go for what you want to do.
Hey, just as an AL Central guy, what are your thoughts on Jorge Polanco?
I'm trying to, first of all, by the end of my career, I think some people think I'm trying to go to all 5 spots in the American League Central. That's not the goal. I'm going to put it on the record here on Brock and Salk. That's not the point of this. Jorge Polanco is one of those guys that when he makes contact, I have like 5 missiles in my mind to the pull side that got out of the ballpark within, I don't know, a second off a White Sox pitcher over the past bunch of years. I've always really liked him, and the contact rate isn't always what you'd want it to be, but as a switch hitter and as a guy who has more pull side power than you would expect, I think he's a really nice piece.